Today, we are diving into something truly fascinating. It's this incredible meeting point of art, of spirituality, and believe it or not, enlightenment. We're going to explore this wild idea that a simple melody, something you and I hear every day, might actually be a powerful and historically proven path to profound wisdom. So let's just put the main question right out there. Can a song, literally just a song, lead a person to the highest states of spiritual realization? I mean, it sounds way too simple, right? Almost too good to be true. For most of us, when we picture serious spiritual practice, especially like in a monastery, we imagine deep silence. We think it's all about renouncing worldly things, and music usually gets tossed right into that category. It's a pleasure, a distraction from the real hard work. But what if that idea we all have is, well, just plain wrong? Or at least it's missing a huge piece of the puzzle. What if the ancient teachings themselves show us a totally different and way more interesting perspective on music and sound? Because it turns out the crucial point was never about avoiding sound altogether, it's about being smart about it. The core idea in these teachings is simple. It's not if you listen, it's what you listen to. And most importantly, what that sound actually does to your mind. So let's go straight to the source. Let's see how this whole idea is laid out in the Buddha's own teachings. You can almost think of it as the original rule book for what our ears should, and maybe shouldn't be, taking in on the spiritual path. And check out this quote. It is so direct. The Buddha basically gives us a simple, pragmatic test. Listen to a sound. Are your negative feelings, your unwholesome states getting stronger? If yeah, then stop listening. But if your positive, wholesome states are increasing, well, then that sound is something you should consume. It's totally based on the result. So if we boil it all down, it comes to this one single question. Forget about blanket rules. The only thing that really matters is the outcome. Does this specific sound, this melody, this song, does it lead your mind toward peace, toward clarity, and toward goodness? And this is where we get to the heart of it. The big prohibition was never against melody itself. It was against those worldly songs specifically designed to stir up sensual desire. But on the other hand, a beautiful, melodious chant with lyrics about wisdom that actually calms you down and refines your mind, that was absolutely permitted. In fact, it was encouraged. Okay, so we've got the principle, but is there any proof? Like, did this actually work for anyone? Can a song really lead to enlightenment? Well, let's dig into the historical record, because honestly, the stories are absolutely incredible. Now get ready, because our first case study is a real shocker. It's a love song. Yep, a celestial musician, Panchasika, sings this song to a goddess he's totally smitten with. But listen to how he frames it. He compares his longing for her to how a wise ascetic seeks enlightenment. And the meaning here is just huge. It shows that even a seemingly worldly song can be wholesome if it points the mind towards a higher truth and isn't just about lust. All right, now let's talk about the sheer power we're dealing with here. An elder named Pingya sings a song praising the Buddha. And the results? They're just staggering. The singer himself, Pingya, becomes fully enlightened, an arahant. His teacher, Bavari, reaches the third stage of enlightenment, and 500 of their disciples all reach the first stage, all of them, at the same time, from one song. This next one might be the most extraordinary story of all. A king holds a song contest, and to help this one young man named Uttara, the Buddha himself acts as a songwriter. He composes a song about mastering the senses, and here's the kicker. Just in the process of learning the song from the Buddha, Uttara becomes a sotapanna. He attains the first stage of enlightenment. And it just keeps going. The historical record is full of these stories. 60 monks in Sri Lanka hear a young girl singing about the simple truths of aging and death, and they all attain arahantship. A monk named Tissa hears another girl singing about a wilting lotus flower, and boom, arahantship. A man and his 7 sons overhear a woman singing about the body's impermanence while she's just pounding rice, and all 8 of them become enlightened. And here is a key insight from all this research that is just so profound. As amazing as it is to become enlightened hearing a sermon directly from the Buddha, the texts actually say it is even more remarkable when someone gets there just by hearing a song from an ordinary person, like a servant girl. It just speaks to the universal power of art to transmit deep, deep wisdom. So
Okay, we've seen that it works. We've got the history, we've got the incredible case studies, but how does it work? What is the actual psychological process that turns a nice sound into life-changing wisdom?
Well, the research lays out this really clear 5-step chain of events. It all starts with a pleasant melody. That's step 1. This creates a feeling of happiness, which is step 2. That happiness then becomes the direct fuel for deep mental concentration, or samadhi. That's step 3. Once the mind is calm and focused, it can then really contemplate the meaning of the lyrics. And that contemplation, step 4, is what gives rise to wisdom, or panya, which is the 5th and final step that leads to enlightenment. And what is so cool is that modern science completely backs this up. The ancient texts say happiness is a proximate cause of concentration. And today, we know that music can trigger the release of endorphins, reducing anxiety and creating that perfect mental state for the deep focus you need for insight. It's a perfect match. So, with the principles, the history, and the psychology all in place, what's the big takeaway? Let's bring all these ideas together with one final, really powerful metaphor that just perfectly sums up the role of music in all of this. And that's the boat analogy. Music is like a boat. It's this beautiful, effective vehicle for carrying us across the choppy river of our distracted minds to the other shore, which is wisdom. Its job is to prepare the mind for that journey. But, and this is key, once you get to the other side, you can let go of the boat. You don't need to carry it with you. The goal is the wisdom, not the music itself. So let's just quickly recap the main points. First, music is a skillful tool. It's only a problem when it leads you in the wrong direction. Second, it works because it creates this clear psychological path from happiness to concentration to wisdom. Third, the content of the song is absolutely key. Lyrics about core truths are what can really trigger a breakthrough. And finally, the historical evidence for all of this is it's really compelling. And all of this really leaves us with a pretty fascinating question for our own lives, doesn't it? If a wholesome song can be a boat to the other shore, it makes you wonder, what other beautiful things, art, nature, poetry, can do the same thing? What boats are you using on your journey?